Good morning, everyone. Scott Maybor here with your Medicare Missive from the pond for Monday, the 11th of May. Hope you are all doing well and enjoyed your weekend. Today, I don't believe it ever published, but I had recorded something last week, so I'm going to re-record it and republish it. So don't think you saw it before, but I think the information's valuable anyway. So a couple weeks ago, I went in for a haircut. The chair next to my barber was empty. And I said, "What's your buddy on vacation?" And he said, "No, he had a massive heart attack. He's been in the hospital for a week. He's not coming back anytime soon. Obviously, we wish him well. But, you know, it made me think he had asked me repeatedly, pretty much every time I was in, about should he switch his Medicare plan. So he had an Advantage plan, or has an Advantage plan. So with an Advantage plan, you have copays. Typically, so he lives in New Hampshire. The shop is in Mass. Typically, you have very little or no premium on the plan, but you do have copays, and the copays could add up to more than the premium on a Medigap plan. So the types of copays you're going to have is ambulance, hospitalization, copays for surgeries, copays for anesthesia, copays for follow-up visits and testing and all of that stuff. On his plan, the maximum number of copays you could pay in a given year is $7,500. So $7,500 would be his max out of pocket. In addition to the copays, which could be more than the $250 a month that he would have paid for a Medigap plan and had no copays, so it's another $4,000 or more after the deductible. But you also have more carrier oversight. So if the doctor wants to do this, or they end up sending him to a rehab, the hospital, or the carrier rather, has a say in, you know, how long are you staying in rehab? How long are you plateauing? And on either case, they're going to make you go. Now, would he have been better off on a supplement plan or a Medigap plan? Maybe, but the problem is he will now never qualify in the state of New Hampshire, or not for many years, because he's had a heart attack. So when he asked me last time, and I said, well, one of the things to consider is, are you going to, if something happens, will you be able to still make a change? And the answer to that is no. New Hampshire, like most states, have medical underwriting, which means when you go to apply for a plan, except when it's new, except when you're new to Medicare or you've recently moved in a couple other instances, you have to answer the health questions. And that's what medical underwriting is in this case. You're answering a series of 15 or so health questions. But the questions are going to pertain to, have you had any recent heart attacks? Have you been in the hospital? Any recent surgeries? Cancer, AIDS, diabetes with insulin, kidney disease, all kinds of things like that. Which will prevent you from getting a policy, maybe forever, quite frankly. So would he have been better off? In this case, he saved, let's say, $3,000 a year in premiums, but on a one-year basis, he's got $7,500 in copays right away because he probably maxed out the plan. So the 2.5 years, which is about how long he's probably been on Medicare, that he saved premium on, he's now wiped out that savings. Couple things he could have done. So he could have switched to a Medigap plan, but that's probably not an option anymore, and it's too late now. He's already incurred the copays. There's also things called critical illness policies, which are add-on policies. They're standalone. You can add them any time of year. And I don't know, he wasn't my client. I don't know if he has one or not. But these are policies to help with the copays. So they're far less expensive than buying a Medigap plan, you know, $40, $50 a month. But what happens is you get paid, usually a flat dollar amount, if you are diagnosed with cancer, if you have a heart attack or a stroke, if you are hospitalized. And what happens is they'll pay you, and I usually keep the payment around $10,000, so it covers the $7,500. Plus you get a little bit extra just to help with other expenses. So let's say, for sake of argument, he had a $50 a month critical illness plan. That would have, as soon as he submits the claim and proves he had a heart attack, they'd send him $10,000. that will pay this year's copays, give him an extra $2,500 to put in his checking account to just pay expenses as they come in that are not covered. I don't know, driving situation, home health care, things like that. But that's another option. So he maybe should have switched to a supplement, but at this point, too late. Hopefully he had a critical illness plan. If you do not have a critical illness plan or a hospital indemnity plan and you're on a Advantage plan, it's an option to consider. We can always run the pricing and see how it looks for you. It's going to be based on your age. It's going to be based on whether or not you smoke. But it's another way to defray the costs associated with an Advantage plan, the out-of-pocket expense, and see if it makes sense to do it that way, especially if you no longer qualify for a Medigap plan with underwriting. Let me know if I can help. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and be well.